There seems to be a bit of a worrying trend happening within Deliveroo, Just Eat and Uber Eats that I want to tell you about. So some of you might know that I work a little bit within the GMB as a regional representative. And part of that role, I have to look at casework. So I look at cases probably on about a weekly basis where people have been either warned or deactivated from platforms where they feel like it is an unfair or unjust warning or unfair or unjust deactivation. And what I'm seeing is a little bit of a trend of one particular warning, which is being overturned nearly every single time that we look at it. And a few people have actually been deactivated for this as well. And again, every time they've been deactivated, they've been brought back to the platform. And they don't really reactivate that many accounts. So the fact that we're getting quite a lot of these reactivated makes me think there is a trend that is building, that is something that's happening that's unfair. And a lot of people, especially those that are not GMB members, might be having these issues. And there's probably a fairly easy way to rectify this and get ahead of the problem. So the issue is basically the system is flagging certain orders where the system thinks that the driver is arriving at the restaurant, tapping the NFC button saying, I have arrived. Then the person's geolocation on their phone is pinging them away from the restaurant. And then they're marking the order as picked up, so then they're back at the restaurant. So basically, Deliveroo is seeing that a rider has arrived at the restaurant, left, and then come back. Now, at first, I thought this is all down to people multi-apping, but I had a look at it properly, and I sent some appeals off to Deliveroo just to see what the deal was. And as said, most of these people have actually been either had their warnings overturned or been reactivated by the platform. And I've had, a bit of feedback from Deliveroo, which was basically that this thing has happened. And in some cases, their phone is pinging them instantaneously, like a mile or so away, and then back again. So there's no way it could be somebody multi-apping at this point, because, it's pinging them a mile down the road and a mile back within seconds. So the advice that we're giving couriers now is to double check your devices and make sure they're giving accurate data to the platforms. Because something that I did was I plugged in my old phone from 2018, I think it was. So now about 7 or 8 years old. Plugged it in, went off and did some deliveries in it, and I noticed that it was pinging inaccurate data. I spoke to O2, who's my provider as well, and they said that quite often this does happen as phones start to get older and they degrade and their parts start not working properly. They can start pinging incorrect geolocation data. So what I would say for you to do to double check that your phone is pinging the right data is to either follow along the Uber map as you're doing your job and see if it's keeping up with you, or on Google Maps, and just make sure that your where your phone is thinking you are tallies up to where you actually are. If this is not the case, it might be a good idea to contact Deliveroo and let them know you've got a phone issue, you've got an issue with your geolocation, and go and speak to your provider, O2, Vodafone, whoever it might be. Go and speak to them, get them to have a quick look at your device, and let them know whether they think there's an issue with it. I spoke to some colleagues who deal with Uber Eats and Uber, who've been saying that they've had similar issues on that side as well. And I have noticed that a lot of people at the moment are having warnings from Just Eat. So I feel like this could be an issue that's kind of developing in the background that might become quite a big thing. So it might be worth just checking your device, whether it be older or newer, that it is definitely giving accurate data to the companies, because it's better to have a quick check, maybe take it in and make sure everything's working correctly, than get deactivated from the platform and then have to fight for your account back. As far as fighting for the account back, obviously if you're a GMB member, that's something that we are willing to look at on a case-by-case basis. So if we feel like it's worth putting the energy into it, we will try and get your account back for you. But this can be a lengthy process. So it can take sometimes 3 or 4 weeks, sometimes up to sort of 2 or 3 months. So you really, really do not want to be losing your account access for this kind of silly reason. Anyway, I hope that helps you all, guys. As I said, please check your devices out, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.